Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by T.A. Forsberg and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
So there are a lot of nonprofits out there delivering services to people who need it, and many host fundraisers events to keep their mission moving forward. So here to share the story of the Davies Project and their upcoming installment of Max's Race is their Director of Development, Laura Young, LaShawn Bailey, the board president, and Jerika Cook, the volunteer recruiter. Thank you so much for joining me here to talk about this great and important event that is looming large. It's actually getting here pretty soon, isn't it?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's start off a little bit with Laura. Why don't you kick us off and talk a little bit about the Davies Project? What services do you perform? Who's your target audience? Who uses you?
Okay, well, at the Davies Project, we rely on a group of volunteer drivers to take rides for families in the greater Lansing area who have barriers to transportation and have a child with a medical condition that requires regular visits to a specialist.
Got it. Okay. And what's the backstory? Who are the Davies?
Well, the name came from Dr. Deli Davis.
Okay.
It was founded by Pam McLouchich.
Well done. You know what? Last time she was on, I butchered that badly. McLouchich.
Yes.
And yes, I've learned it over the years.
And Dr. Davies was the former head of MSU Children's Special Health Care Services and did some work with Pam. They worked closely together. So when Pam moved to create the Davies Project to try to bridge that gap between both urgent care and overlooked transportation issues,
Okay.
She decided that she wanted to name the Davies Project after Dr. Davies, who was amazing, absolutely amazing.
And it does the Davies Project, so you mentioned serving kind of greater Lansing. What is the boundaries, or how far away do you go? It is clearly a Lansing-based entity, but do you go to Williamston? Do you do Okemos?
Yeah, as long as the family lives in borders sort of Grand Ledge to Williamston, DeWitt to Mason, really where our volunteers are located. Our reach is really kind of that larger metro area. We'll pick up families in that area, and then while most of our appointments are also local, we'll take them out of town if they need to see a doctor in Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Brighton. Volunteers will drive them out if they need to.
Got it.
Go out of area.
So important, right?
Yes.
And I guess it's just a matter of collaborating with the need and talking to the volunteer drivers and ask if they're willing to do it.
Exactly.
So can you give me any kind of background statistics? I mean, how many people are in this situation? You know, clearly there are people that have hardships and have needs.
Yes.
But I guess as just a citizen, I wouldn't have guessed that there was such a need that we needed a nonprofit and a series of volunteers and an orchestration of getting this kind of service out there. So how many people
we
do
serve?
help?
Almost all of our clients are Medicaid recipients.
Okay.
And just statistics-wise, last year we gave 150 different clients rides. But most of them get rides multiple times a week from us. We give them kind of that personal touch. They get to know us. They get to know the drivers. We take them to regular, therapy appointments, treatments that they need, whether it's, oncology or hematology. And so that's sort of our individual client base, and then we're always bringing on, new applicants as well.
Yep. And
70% of patients in the specialty clinics here, the pediatric specialty clinics, rely on Medicaid, and they miss about 60% of their visits to those clinics.
Okay.
But with the help of the Davies Project, we cut that missed appointment rate down to 20%.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. And that's just the health and well-being of people that are our neighbors and associates and friends and people we see in the grocery store.
The outcomes are so important for making those appointments.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I want to dive into Max's Race, but I want to give a tip of the cap to our friends at Forsberg Real Estate. When it comes to creating the best living and working environments in the community, no one does it better than my friends at the Forsberg Real Estate Company. Brent Forsberg and his team create vibrant, holistic communities that inspire growth and encourage belonging. Focused on building stronger connections for people, the Forsberg Project is always in tune with balancing relationships to create the optimum human experience. Since the 1950s, Forsberg has been enhancing the qualities of life and the communities they serve by following the principles of regenerative growth and aligning the resources and tools available. Reach out to my friends at the Forsberg Real Estate Company by calling 517-349-9330 or check out their website at lansingrealestate.com. So like any nonprofit, clearly you need money to manage your operations and make this service possible.
Yes.
And it sounds like do you have regular donors? Do you do grants? Kind of where does your budget financially come from?
Yes, we do rely on individual donors, and we hold different fundraising events throughout the year where we engage our donors. We also have grants from the City of Lansing, from United Way, from Ingham County Community Agency, also from the State of Michigan's Perinatal Quality Collaborative.
Wow, okay.
Yep, and then we also rely on foundation grants from the Pentecost Foundation, Granger, an anonymous grant, and we also have a partnership with the Michigan Transportation Connection to
Makes
help
sense.
us support these rides.
Right on. Okay. But Max's Race is one of your nice fundraisers coming up, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about what Max's Race is and when it's happening this year?
Max's Race was founded 20 years ago. This is the 20th anniversary, for Max. And it was passed on to us at the Davies Project. We hold it on June 21st, so it's coming up really soon on the campus of Michigan State University. And we have some great activities for families lined up. We're going to have Big Lug and Sparty. We're going to have MSU women's basketball.
Nice.
There will be a 5K, also a kids mile and a kids sprint.
Okay.
And we'll also have breakfast provided by King of the Grill.
Oh, very nice. Good for them. They're really good, actually. I've had their stuff before. That's no joke. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be just a really fun morning. We'll have the races, and we'll have a lot of fun things to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Volunteers. Rika, I need to hear your voice. You're the volunteer coordinator.
Yes,
right?
recruiter.
The recruiter,
well.
right on. So how many volunteers do you need to pull something like this off?
Oh, wow. Okay. Because
More than 5, I bet.
More than 5, for sure. Well, we offer the most flexible volunteer opportunity here in Lansing. So it ranges. We have about 60-ish, I would say 65-ish volunteers on our roster.
Okay.
However, because we are flexible, that fluctuates any given month. So like you mentioned earlier, the need is so high that maybe some weeks we can give 60 rides, other weeks we vary between 50, 45. We kind of look at how many volunteers are active. So yeah, the need is high. I'm always out. You can find us at like health and wellness fairs.
Okay.
We have table events all the time at health and wellness fairs. The Teddy Bear and Health Fair. Laura was just out there. Lug Nuts. I was just at the Lug Nuts game. We also, to engage our volunteers, we have a monthly volunteer coffee for our volunteers where they get to come out and mingle. It is amazing.
I can imagine the stories they must have.
Yes.
I have heard through friends of mine that serve with you all that there's real bonds connected between the volunteers and the patients, and that they become more than just chauffeur, or Uber driver. I mean, they really, feel really connected with these folks, which I think is really special.
For sure, as the volunteer recruiter, that our volunteers are definitely our heart. And when they go out and give their stories about their experience as volunteer drivers, that really generates traffic to the Davies Project. So they kind of help me out tremendously as a volunteer recruiter, for sure.
So do a lot of the volunteers that are drivers, do they also come and help at Max's Race, or are they usually kind of done at that time?
Yes. Well, if they're available, they for sure help us in any way possible. Any events we're throwing on, tabling events that I am at, Laura's at, Pam is at. Our volunteers are beside us. They are always looking for ways to contribute for the greater good of the Davies Project. So shout out to our volunteers.
There you go. Now, do you still need more volunteers for the Max's Race coming up on June 21st?
Yes, we do. And you can go on our website, thedaviesproject.org, and Max's Race link, where you can essentially, it's different opportunities where you can be a volunteer. So we have like passing out medals, I believe, Laura. Field where you kind of are just like out on the race. Where you can volunteer there. So you can just go on our website, and if you are looking for opportunity to volunteer in that way, then please go and engage.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, is that your responsibility too as a volunteer recruiter?
Yes,
or are you
recruiting. Recruiting.
Right on. Okay, so your job is never done.
Never done. Help.
That's great. And so how many people tend to participate in Max's Race?
Last year we had 150
Okay.
sign up to race. We are already at 120 right now, so we hope to exceed that number this year.
Nice. Good for you. And is it all throughout campus, or do you guys hit the
We
other
have, it's a river course.
Okay.
And we'll start at the courtyard behind Hubbard Hall
Okay.
on Hagedorn.
Yep.
And so then we'll get going down the river. And yeah, it's just kind of a straight shot down the river and
Nice.
back.
And what time does it all kick off?
The 5K starts at 8 a.m.
Okay.
And the kids' miles at 9 a.m.
Got it. All right. So up early. It's a Saturday, right?
Yes.
June 21st.
Yes.
Get your racing shoes on,
That's right.
And go
Expect a breakfast sandwich.
Right.
Smoothies from Tropical Smoothie.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, mascots.
They're a great partner. I love Tropical Smoothie.
Yes.
They just the ownership group seems to do the right stuff. I'm really glad to see them showing
Very
up and doing that kind of
supportive.
stuff. That's great. And obviously, it's a fundraiser. So, what are the fees this year to participate?
For adults, it's $35 to register, and for kids, it's $19.
Right on. Okay. And it's all going to a great cause. I mean, just think about that mission, getting these volunteer drivers to whenever these appointments are, wherever these appointments are, pretty much getting people who are the most vulnerable and have the most needs get to medical appointments that they otherwise would miss. 60% fail rate on scheduled appointments that you guys have helped reduce to 20% because of the services you provide.
Yes.
That's no joke. That's really, really great. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I would imagine you have some steady sponsors that tend to show up for Max's race that help do that. I know the fear of me asking you who those sponsors are that you want to thank.
No fear.
Okay, I was going to say, because it's like, I'm going to forget someone. But who are the people that tend to show up to help you make sure this happens?
We have our key sponsors for Max's race this year are the AF Group, so
Okay.
Accident Fund,
Yep.
also the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Yep, IBEW, that's right,
Yep.
yes, yep.
And MSU FCU.
Perfect. You can't go wrong with any of those folks.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
Okay. And do you guys run it, or do you guys kind of watch it happen? Because you're volunteering.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be there.
Point person.
I volunteer.
Right.
I went last year for like the first time, and it was absolutely amazing. And just seeing how everyone came together, it's absolutely amazing.
Yes. I think last year was the first year we did the family fair
Yeah.
and
Okay.
brought in the library, Impression 5, and all of the activities for kids. And it really does add, a different flavor for,
Right.
what the event is all about and what there is to do.
That's great. And I'll tell you, our next sponsor is really aligned with this kind of stuff. So the folks at Good Marketing. Here at Michigan Reimagine, we tell stories of passionate Michiganders doing great things across the state. Today's podcast sponsor takes the art of positive storytelling to a whole new level. The good people at Good Marketing work with organizations across the state that are having a positive impact on the lives of Michigan residents. They help educate communities on the importance of affordable housing, the impact of wildlife and natural resource management, the availability of workforce development and education programs. If it lifts people up and makes the community stronger, then they want to help spread the word. If your organization needs help with communicating the good work that you do, stop by their website at Good Marketing. That's GUD marketing.com. So June 21st, 8 o'clock is the 5K.
Yes.
9 o'clock, the kids' fun mile.
Yes.
Is that what it is? Any of you have kids running in that?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
It's amazing how fast they are when they're young.
Yes.
That's excellent.
Yes. They're running for me by proxy.
Okay. And then there's still volunteer opportunities,
Yes.
as you mentioned. So we want to go to daviesproject.org
Yep.
Yeah.
and go to the Max's Race link on there, and there's an ability for them to learn more about what the obligation is and then register, I would imagine, right?
Yes.
And you'll be the one to give them a ring and let them know that they're accepted. Got it. Okay. And then $35
Yep.
to register,
For
19
adults
for
and 19
kids.
for kids. Yes.
Excellent. Okay. And then there are probably still sponsorship opportunities,
Yes.
right? People who are willing to show up and write a check can
Absolutely.
get some notoriety through your organization here as
Yes.
well. Is there anything I've missed? You guys seem to have it all buttoned up already.
I would like to say that I personally know the impact of what the Davies Project has.
Okay.
Because before I became the board president, I was also one of the families that used their services.
Really?
So it was an amazing experience, great connections with a lot of the drivers. And I was one of the ones that needed to go out into those more long-distance rides and appointments quite often. So every volunteer, I remember their story. I remember their compassion. I just thank you to those volunteers.
Good for you. Thank you. What a testimonial. And that you're here as the board president. Talk about circle of life kind of stuff. Literally, right?
Yes.
Well, excellent conversation. Remind everyone of the website again, if you would.
It's the daviesproject.org. And don't forget the at the beginning.
Yes.
Got it. Fantastic. Well, we've been talking to the Director of Development, Lori Young, the Board President, LaShawn Bailey, and Drika Cook, the volunteer recruiter from the Davies Project, talking about the next installment of Max's Race on June 21st. Sign up, thedaviesproject.org. Thank you so much for joining me here today. It's been a really great conversation.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of my loyal sponsors, the Forsberg Real Estate Company, Wagoner Financial, Triterra Environmental, Good Marketing, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. They're all fantastic people that are worth the call. And if you found the show as a one-off, I want to remind you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck signing off from Michigan Reimagined.